This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right, it is showtime. Time flies when you're having fun. Welcome. Hey, everybody. We got a great show tonight. Welcome to another edition this week of the COVID cover-up. I'm going to bring you more information, more things that are right in front of your face that many knew from years ago, but some still don't get it, and that's okay. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm bringing you information. You can decide what you want to do with it. It's up to you. I just trying to bring it to your attention. Also tonight, the Blue Angels are in the news. They've been in the news for the past couple of weeks, but I'm finally getting to it. And for over 40 years, they've been getting their flight suits for the Blue Angels, Navy flight demonstration team. For over 40 years, their flight suits have been made right here in Pensacola, Florida. And I did not know that. And after 40 years, the people that were making those flight suits lost their contract. And we're going to talk about it because it's not the fact that they lost their contract. It's just the fact that it's the way things went about that I got questions, okay? And I'm not putting it on the Blue Angels, but the business behind the Blue Angels, business is business. And things change, and I get it. Believe me. It's just like any other business, the record industry, all that stuff. But we're going to talk about it tonight. So welcome to Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show. Get your popcorn tonight because I got good stuff for you. We're here every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. That is East. God willing. And so far, so good. And it is really great to be here. It's thundering out, so cross your fingers. Let's keep the lights on. This is some of the things I didn't. Well, it's not that I didn't think of it, but when we made the transition, it's like, do we go to battery backup and all that kind of stuff? I'm going, nah, come on. We need 90 minutes, one time out of the week for everything to kind of be okay, for the electricity to stay on and all that. What could possibly go wrong? It's right. I'm sure I'll get stung eventually, but it's all good. It's all good. What else we got? So anyway, just bear with me. Tonight's going to be a good night. More information. I'm telling you, I get it. I'm catching it in all directions. Back to the you can't please everybody stuff. And I'm telling all week long, it's like, thank you for this, because I do realize that mainstream media sucks and they do not give you the information that you need. They give you the information they want you to hear. True or false. And mostly it's all kind of made to their advantage. So I'm bringing you things that are on the line. And again, a lot of people get really upset. They're in denial. And you can do whatever the hell you want. I'm not telling you anything to believe, but I am showing you some things. And whether you want to take the blinders off or not, that's up to you. I have more respect for people who say, wow, I didn't realize this all this time and I was wrong. Lots of respect for admitting you got sold. They sold it so well, along with everything else they're doing nowadays. I was that person too 15 years ago. But it's okay. Everybody catches up in different ways. Better late than never. But again, some man you just can't reach, and you're never going to. And Peter, you're a friggin' idiot, and and Fauci saved the world and all that kind of stuff. All I can say is We'll see. I'm not saying they're going to actually do anything to them, but I appreciate the fact that they're getting this stuff out and bringing it up front finally to bring it to people's attention to, like, look what they did to us. That's a big deal. Got an itch. Ooh. So that's what's going on. And again, the Blue Angels and all that kind of stuff. But I do want you to stick around. So before we get started, August is a really big astrological month. Now, I am not Mr. Hoodoo Guru, by no means. But I'm telling you, I have, over the past, probably since about 2015, really started to change a little bit. And again, I look at everything. And I just take things into account. The universe, the current things around me. Look at this. Let me say hello to a friend. Pensacola in the house. Welcome. Boom up. Doesn't matter if it's thundering, just boom up, my friend. Insider joke. Anyway, so I take all this stuff into account, and and if things work out and I'm, positive energy and all this kind of stuff, great. No harm, no foul. But if things don't work out, I'm not going to, blame anybody. I just keep on working towards whatever. Lots of bad things happen in your life. Go on, things that are just hard that you can't imagine. Why me? Why me? It's not just you, everybody. I think even the richest people in the world have ass aches. Now, you might say, well, they got all that money. I know. But believe me, with all that comes a lot of responsibility too, good or bad. So I just take into account, again, I keep the astrological stuff, in one of my pockets. And what's going on here? But I take, again, good things happen. Great. Good things happen. I attribute it to, I stay positive, even when some days that you just get kicked in the ass and you're going, well, it's okay. Keep moving forward. So before we get started, I guess that's my point. I wanted to get going. Before we get started, I wanted to get our little astrological forecast for the week, starting out this show. This is a little something that we started doing a couple of months ago. And it just kind of gets us off on the right foot, and hopefully for you too. But let's hear from Moon Mistress Tarot and what's going on right now, all right? Here you go.
All right, my loves. This week we have Scorpio energy in our moon, which means it's going to heighten your intuition and reveal some hidden truths, my loves. So be prepared, be ready. For my beautiful air signs, you have the Star card. That's time to make a wish, time to heal, time to believe in the energy here. So Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, I love that energy for you. For my water signs, well, babies, something fast and furious that you've already set out is coming for you. This is victory, my darling. This energy, this is for all my water signs. For my fire signs, you are heating things up, or someone is around you, because that is new love. Ace of Cups, baby. Could be new love, could be a stronger love happening, but it's working. For my earth signs, my darlings, time to walk away from something that's draining you, that's not serving you anymore, because that's Eight of Cups, and it's time for you to follow your desire. To find out what's going on with your energy this week, moonmistresstarot.com. And as always, enjoy your weekend. Back to you, Peter.
Back to me, Peter. Thank you, Moon Mrs. Tarot. I think she winked at me again. Not sure. Anyway, listen, to find out more about your astrological journey and your cosmic connection, go see Moon Mistress Tarot at moonmistresstarot.com. Like she said, get a reading. What's it going to hurt? Again, worst thing can happen is life keeps moving forward, but I like a little bit of direction. Let's see what we got going on here with what's this going on with Diana? Yes, my new car. I don't know what that means, but congratulations. There you go. I'm just, sitting here wearing root beer tonight. Root beer, Diana. Root beer, not black. But I was thinking about it. I might just switch to. It's so much easier. Remember, like a lot of people going to private schools. You never have to worry about what you're going to wear. You just wear that uniform, and there it is. It's like nobody says nothing. And I do like black. Black is much more slimming in my upper ears here, and I may switch over, but in the wintertime it's always the shirt and ties and all that kind of stuff. But maybe, who knows? Diana might be, I might be onto something because of Diana, constantly giving me the old stink eye about different color shirts. Friday, new car Scorpio in the house. Scorpio, some kind of new car that Kia's making or something like that. Again, I'm not really up on my astrological stuff as much as some people are, but I do embrace it. So that's it. Next, what are we doing? I told myself I was going to take it nice and slow tonight because we do have a lot of good. Did I mention we got a lot of good stuff tonight? We do. So you're going to have to sit tight. It amazes me because we go through everything and we look at things, and you got the people who are dedicated that are coming to watch the show just as yourselves and know that it's going to be a long form show. And I'm not one of the internet people who just come on and tease you with a hot topic and then they get to that hot topic and that's all they do. My show is more you're tuning in so we can all just hang out and talk about some things and get to some really big meat and potatoes, but talk about a lot of other things around, and you get used to that. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're so used to the instant gratification thing. They just want to get on and get off. I get people that go, "You just wasted 3 minutes of my life." It's like, oh, boo-hoo. Nobody twisted your arm. But we are an entertainment show, okay? I'm not a hard-hitting get on and get off show. And when it's not easy filling, this much time with quality, but we do. And it's all because you're willing to, we're all like friends in here now. I mean, you know me and you know what you're going to get. And you come here because of that. So I appreciate you. I do. Don't forget, hit the follow, the like buttons, subscribe. Facebook's kicking ass, folks. We're going to be hitting that 100,000 mark. Actually, we are at 100,000 if you combine all three pages. But the main official Facebook Peter G Show page is just, I think, about 10,000 shy of 100,000, actual people who hit the like button. And it amazes me, some of you that watch the show every week have not gone to the official page and hit the like button. So all you got to do is free. But regardless of the 100,000 that show their dedication, I know that there's many, many more that do. And I'm guilty of it too. I watch a million things and don't subscribe to everything. But I'm asking you to, please, because we don't get 2 million viewers a month because of only 100,000 subscribers. There's many more people in the background. So I love and appreciate all of you, and thank you. And don't forget, I know the shows are long, and in California right now, people are still driving home from work on that damn freeway. Take the show with you. Google Peter G Show podcast. You can get the audio versions. There's over 400 shows. You can listen to stuff while you're working, exercise, in the car driving, walking, cleaning the house, whatever you're doing, working on your car, you can hear the audio version. It's the next best thing to being here. Being here is very cool too. And don't forget, after the live shows are over, all the shows are on demand. You can watch them anytime you want. If YouTube doesn't pull me down, I was very surprised that they kept the show up so far from last week. But then again, I've had them come after me, weeks and months later out of the blue. But I think maybe they're realizing that it's kind of hard to deny when a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is on mainstream media right now. So how are you going to tell me it's not correct? So I'm crossing my fingers. Let's keep it that way, okay? But anyway, you can watch all the shows on demand, pick whatever you want. And you don't have to, for those who can't show up for the live, I dig when you're live. Don't forget, you can comment. If you're on the official Facebook Peter G Show page, the official YouTube Peter G Show page, or the official LinkedIn Peter G Show page, you can comment live, and I might even see it, just like I saw Diana's. And if I'm not in the middle of something, or if you got something worthy you're saying, I'll talk about it or bring it up or whatever. And that's that, okay? Now, I want to talk about the Blue Angels, and I forgot to load a picture, damn it. The Pensacola NAS Naval Air Station is home of the Blue Angels fighter demonstration squadron team, the best of the best, the best of the best. And people in the Gulf Coast, I can't express enough their love for the Blue Angels. They can do no wrong. They just can't. Last month, I'm sure you saw, because they made it almost a tragedy, when there was a low flyby during a practice of one of the shows on Pensacola Beach. We get 2 shows a year in Pensacola, one on Pensacola Beach but the only thing you can't do is you can't see them take off and you can't see them land, but they do a show on Pensacola Beach. That is the biggest draw of the year on that beach. More people come in one weekend, that weekend of the Blue Angels show, than any other week, and a big money maker for the beach too, for all the businesses and this and that, even though the beach is pretty packed all the time. Either way, there was a low flyby that was lower than usual, and they showed this footage of umbrellas flying up in the air from the draft of the plane, just flying by, and things going all over the place, and they made it like it was almost a tragedy. And people, maybe it was a little surprising, but people love the shit out of it. I mean, now I'm watching, I see people with these T-shirts that's like low fly, and it's got the Blue Angels. Somebody is getting in on the groove and making T-shirts about that whole incident and how they love what they do. However, and this is really kind of weird because I grew up in Pensacola, pretty much, and I had no idea that their flight suits, their uniforms, which are the blue with the yellow stripes, impeccable, perfectly fitting for each pilot, they're made right here in Pensacola. I guess I never thought about where their flight suits are made. I mean, I just didn't think about it. Not that I don't think anybody did, but come to find out, their flight suits are made right down the street from the Navy base, from a little old mom and pop store, sewing store. I mean, that's pretty unique. And they've been making the Blue Angels flight suits, all of them. All of the suits, they repair them. They have to, who knows how many flight suits they have to custom make, cut them, custom make them, sew them, make them by hand. They've been doing it for over 40 years, I think 43 years. And I just didn't realize that. And they're right down the street from Pensacola NAS, and they have been doing it for years. However, recently, I guess they have to keep reapplying for a contract. And recently, this little mom and pop operation that has kept up with the government, the U.S. Navy, lost their contract because they didn't apply, because normally the people said that they get a phone call saying, hey, it's time to reapply, and they do. And something changed, and I'm going to the local TV station has a little bit of information on what happened. And I'm not saying that things can't change, just because you're there for 43 years, times change, progress, this and that. However, I do feel something was a little bit weird, a little bit shifty. I'm going to play you what the local TV station did, a little story on it, and then we'll talk about it real quick. All right. So here you go. This is all about the U.S. Navy Blue Angels flight suits that have been made right down the street from the Pensacola Naval Air Station for over 40 years. All of a sudden now has lost their contract to do it. And now they're going to be made in Virginia, I think, something like that. Here you go.
After more than 40 years, a Pensacola business says they will no longer make the Blue Angels ceremonial flight suits. According to SAM.gov, the Navy has awarded a new contract to a company in Virginia to take over that role. Our Melanie Levy joining us in the studio now. And Melanie, the sewing box in Pensacola says they've now lost their biggest customer.
Bob, that's right. The owner says she's nothing short of heartbroken after outfitting the team for decades.
I would have never, ever thought that Mind Blues would treat me like this. Not in a million years.
For 43 years, Candy Whitehurst and the tailors at the sewing box on North Navy Boulevard have made the Blue Angels' iconic ceremonial flight suits. Sewing, cutting, measuring, and stitching each blue and yellow ensemble to perfection. How many Blues uniforms do you think you've made over the years?
So it's so many I can't even really tell you.
Thousands?
Yes, thousands.
According to this document on SAM.gov, the government's official website where federal agencies post contract opportunities, the U.S. Navy has awarded a new contract worth up to $1.69 million over 5 years to Aquila International LLC in Virginia.
Never have they did that for me, ever. Wow. that I was making. I'm making pennies compared to what they're doing.
Per SAM.gov, the company will manufacture, alter, and repair the Blue Angels custom ceremonial suits, taking exact measurements of each pilot at Naval Air Station Pensacola and Naval Air Facility El Centro. According to the contract, every suit must be made from flame-resistant fabric supplied by the government and meet strict military specifications.
Before, they always announced to me, Miss Candy, do you want the contract? You need to put your bid in. This year, I didn't hear from no one. No one called me.
The new contractor is also required to complete repairs and alterations within 14 days to keep up with the Blues' demanding demonstration schedule, according to SAM.gov. Whitehurst says that won't be easy.
And I'm really hurt from it because I just cannot understand. And then we're local. We right there, right out the front gate. Now you got to pay somebody to make the uniform, and now you got to pay somebody to do alteration when y'all have emergency blowout or it just don't fit right. I would drop everything for them to take care of them and be at work all night, doing everything they need. So I would have never thought that they would do this to me.
Friday afternoon, I reached out to officials with the Navy and the public affairs officer for the Blue Angels to ask about the change in contractors. I also emailed and called Aquila International LLC to comment on the role they'll play in outfitting the Blues. I have not heard back.
Now, according to the contract, Aquila International can still hire other businesses to help with parts of the work, like sewing, repair, supplies. So that means the Sewing Box or other local businesses could potentially work with Aquila as a subcontractor, but the Navy cannot guarantee that that'll happen. Aquila would have to make that decision. Live in the studio, I'm Melanie Levy, WEAR News.
So I understand that, even though they were there for 43 years, now this woman only recently bought this business with her husband because the gentleman that owned the Sewing Box in Pensacola, I guess he passed away a few years ago, but she had worked for them since she was young, really young. So from the beginning. And now I understand that contracts, things change. Let's put it this way. Okay, the Blue Angels, the pilots have nothing to do with this. This is all business background. You have business managers in the Navy, just like you do. People who order supplies and do all this kind of stuff. It is no different, in my mind, than when you go to work, than the music business. I'll give you a little example. You're on the verge of a record deal. There's an A&R guy back in the day when there was a record business. You had an A&R guy who loved you, and he says, "Man, this is going to be great," and he's pitching it to his record company, and the record company is just starting to pay attention to you, and all of a sudden that A&R guy gets fired. They clean house, and that guy is gone, and they put in a new A&R guy, and then the new A&R guy comes. He goes, "Oh, so what do we got going on?" He says, "Well, we got this, and this band," and he looks at the band that the old A&R guy liked, and he goes, "I'm not seeing it. I don't, they're okay, but I'm not digging it." And boom, just like that, you're gone. And believe me, I've heard Cheap Trick tell stories like this, and everybody's nightmare about how easily come and go. Same thing with the Navy. Every 2-3 years, they change out personnel. They change out pilots. They change out supply people, management, all that kind of stuff. So the relationship is either handed down and you go, "Listen, we've had these people for 40 years. They're really good. They're right down the street. We stay loyal to them because they treat, because they jump every time we need them, whatever it's going to take." However, that doesn't have to maintain anymore. You get some new guy in there and he's like, he says, "These people are mom and pop. We need an industry. We need an industrial business to take care of this." Different thinking. I mean, they're trying to put it, I saw them even mention, it's a black thing and stuff like that. And I hope to God it. I can't see why it would be, because if they've done the work all these years, it obviously isn't anything like that in this day and age. However, if by chance they've been dropping the ball and nobody's mentioning this, like there's things that have been dropped and, she's not going to say anything, I don't know. But there's only a couple of factors that I could think of that somebody won't say to remember to call them to put in their bid like they've been doing for decades. And so they missed the bid. Other contractors put in the bid and they awarded the contract to somebody else, and nobody said anything. No insiders said anything. Now, here's where I got the problem. The sewing box was doing their business with the Blue Angels, making their uniforms for about $127,000 a year. Okay? Now, that may sound like a lot of money to you, but it really isn't. They make hundreds of suits. And I like the way she said when there's an emergency blowout. I think everybody's had one of those. You know, so the fact is that they make a ton of stuff, and they got to constantly, even like if the pilots are gaining weight or losing weight, the suits have to be re-altered. I mean, because if you've ever seen a Navy pilot, Blue Angel, those suits are like painted onto them with material. They're amazing. I mean, perfectly fit. And they've been charging about $127,000 a year to do all this. However, this new company that got awarded the contract, this is where it gets me. Because normally when you bid for a contract, it's who's going to be the lowest bidder and still give you the quality they need. Okay? So the old sewing box of 40 plus years, currently at about $127,000 a year. The new bidder who won the contract, it's going to be roughly, it's a 5-year contract, but it breaks down to $338,000 a year. You heard that right. $338,000 a year for the new contractor to come in and do the exact same thing, supposedly, as the 40 plus years sewing box down the street from Pensacola NAS has been doing currently for about $127,000 a year. So how does that make sense to you if you're on the business end of it going, they're spending more than double? They're spending more than double. That's almost 3 times as much money. 2.5 times. How does that make sense? So something's going on. And I think that there's, you know, and on top of that, the people from the sewing box, they actually designed those Blue Angels uniforms. So they own the rights to that design. And one of two things is either going to happen. Either they're going to sell the rights, or the new contractor is going to have to come up with a whole new uniform. I mean, it might be blue, but there's going to have to be something different about it, that it's not the current one that has been on them for decades. So who knows? So keep your ears and eyes open, folks, because it kind of stinks. I feel bad for them, but I don't, you know, say that things can't change, and things do change, and, you know, out with the old, in with the new, but the financial end of it doesn't make sense to me at all. And again, they're way up in Virginia. Logistically, there's going to be a lot more expense to what they're doing. And these people, again, and it's more about, these were normal mom and pop that love these people. This whole Gulf Coast loves the Blue Angels. You'll go out of your way to stop and watch the Blue Angels, or buy something about the Blue Angels, or it's an incredible vibe. And I didn't know that. We have people right here. I must drive by it a million times in my life and never noticed that they were the ones that make those uniforms. So keep your eyes and ears open, folks. That story, I don't think, is over. I'll try to keep you updated when things come to some kind of solution, which I honestly think, unfortunately, that they're never going to get that contract back. The contract has been awarded, and they're just going to drag it out until it's brushed under the rug, just like everything else. Just like everything else, unfortunately. Okay, so that's what I got to say about that. Here's what we're going to do. I need to take a quick, short break so I can hear from my good friends from Clean Start Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. Let's face it, I don't care if gas is going down. California, $6 a gallon. Bullshit. Sick of it. However, It makes sense to save money and keep your car running longer and lasting longer because nobody likes making repairs. So we'll be right back after I hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products. All right, don't go nowhere. Be right back.
Hello, it's Tyrone Thompson here with Clean Star Products, and we're here with William.
High-end car service.
And we've just serviced his Cadillac Escalade 2024. And we're going to be giving it a go to see what kind of results he'll be getting in his fuel mileage and any performance differences, and be checking with him later.
All right.
Thank you, William, for participating in our environmental program. We're here with High-End Car Services, my friend William, who's been using DX1 for a small time now. What kind of results have you been getting?
Up to 45.1 miles per gallon best results, and the engine has been quieter, and I can definitely feel the power in the engine. I have a diesel.
Thank you so much. We're going to keep going with the program and check in with you later. We appreciate you. The Long Life Engine program with DX1 Driver is the only safe environmental product for your high mileage engine. DX1 is a non-toxic, clean-burning oil that goes into your fuel and your engine oil, providing lubricity for gasoline and diesel engines. You save on average 10% gasoline and 15% diesel fuel consumption. Call now for a price quote and place your order today. It's the Long Life Engine program from Clean Star Products and Tyrone Thompson.
That's right, folks. Clean Star Products, DX1 Driver. I got two words for you. It works. It does. It's that simple. This little bottle right here. Take one of these little bottles. It takes care of your average four-door sedan. You pour one of these bottles into a clean oil change, and then drive. And when you fill up your tank, when your tank is pretty close to empty, take one of these little bottles, put it in the tank, pour it into the tank, then fill up your tank with fuel, and just drive until you're low on fuel again. Then pour another one of these bottles in, and then drive again. Do it a few times because it's going to take a little time to get things going. But I'm telling you, I noticed the difference within about 3 bottles of DX1 Driver. And the one that's in the oil change, it lasts the whole oil change. That's about 5,000-6,000 miles on your average car. If you drive a Mercedes or a Bentley or something, or a BMW, it's like 10 or 12,000 miles. You don't have to mess with it. It's that simple. I'm telling you. But don't believe me. Here's what I want you to do. Go to their website. Get some more information. www.cleanstarproducts.com. And there's a phone number there. Okay? These guys are old school. They want to talk to you because it's so much easier communicating with your questions. You're going to have questions. If you're going to spend some money, it's not even a lot of money, but if you're going to spend money to help your car and to last longer and do things, I mean, I don't know, something you really don't know much about, talk to them. Plethora of information. 310-200-8931 is the number. Call him. You might even get Ty himself. All right? He'll tell you everything you want to know. He's really proud of his product, and he loves talking about his product, that's for sure. But he knows everything about it because it's his life. So do that. But when you get that information, should you decide to order, you got to mention you saw it on the Peter G Show. Here's why you're on the phone and watching all this, because if you mention you saw it on the Peter G Show, they will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4. A deal's a deal. 5 bottles for the price of 4 for mentioning you saw it on the Peter G Show and calling and talking to them. And that's a perfect starter kit, okay? It just is. Pour 1 in the clean oil change, and then you have 4 bottles left. And that'll give you 4 full tanks of fuel to drive it on. I'm telling you, you will notice the difference. The only way I can relate to you on this is good food, good body. And that's what it does to your car. And car repairs are expensive. I can't stand car repairs. So why not take care of your car and lessen the odds of that happening? All right? It's so much better that way. Anyway, all right. Call them, all right? Tell them you saw it on the Peter G Show, and life will be good, and you'll be happy. I know you will, because you just know. You'll know the difference. You'll feel it. I felt the difference. My daughter even noticed when she borrows my vehicle. Because and how's she gonna know? She doesn't really pay attention, but she does subliminally. That's it. All right. There you go. Okay, so now let's catch your breath, folks, because here we come. We're coming up to the meat and potatoes part, which is like the main meal. You know, we've had our couple of little appetizers and had a little sip cocktail or something. And where am I? I'm right here. And speaking of sips, what do we got? Oh, I think we got a comment going on. I think I saw my old friend. Where are we at? Old school is the best school. Go Cowboys. Yep, Shamutra. There you go. There we go. All right. Glad you can make it. I think you're going to enjoy the night tonight. There we go. My buddy. I got all this. See, there's people that pay attention, that they'll tune in. They're willing to tune in because they know what they're going to get and they like it. And if they don't, they'll tell me about it, like everybody else. But that's okay. It's all good. So let's take a little sip. Here's to everybody and kicking ass, having a great week, having a great life. Take care of yourselves. I love you guys for tuning in. Again, paying attention. That means a lot. And I know it takes a lot because life is fast, faster than I choose it to be. But here we are, been here since the 40s and things are good right here on Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show. So salute. Ooh. Smooth. Very, very, very smooth. Isn't that right, Bo?
Smooth.
Butthead will be sharing the show. Share. That's probably the best thing you can do is share. Because especially all the short clips during the week, it's been out of control. Again, with it's so nice to see tens of thousands and 1.5 million, of a clip being shown because it's been a long, hard road to get to where we are. It's just been go, just uphill the whole way. And all of a sudden, that little snowball has grown into a pretty good sized snowball and growing. And it's all because of you guys. So thank you. All right. So, little disclaimer real quick. I know that there's people that completely disagree with me or what I'm doing. And I'm here to tell you that it's not that I don't care what you think. I do care what you think. But also, at the same time, you can't please everybody. I do this, somebody wants that. I do that, somebody wants this. It just is what it is. So for the 11th, millionth time, I'm sure a lot of you are going to voice your opinions towards what I provide, and that's fine. But when you resort to the name calling and all that, it's like, screw you. I don't care. There's when I don't care. If you can't handle it, go someplace else. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm not telling you not what to like. Everybody's entitled to do whatever they want. It's their lives. If you want to boost your brains out with the old jabberini, go right ahead. I love you anyway. I'm not going to not like you because we disagree on one thing out of 1,000. And we had years of talking about great stuff. It's okay. I'm not even telling you what to like the stuff I'm bringing. I'm putting it out there for you to have in the back of your head and you decide. You may disagree completely with what I'm showing you tonight, but I didn't make this stuff up. I'm bringing it to you from other media, and it's factual things, whether you want to accept it or not. It's things coming out of these people's mouths, the originators. So whether you choose to believe it, there's a syndrome. It's not, well, again, there's TDS, but everybody's dragging, the old Trumpster in with this whole thing. It's like, leave him out of this. He was in for a very short time when they were scaring the shit out of everybody, and they had advisors telling him in his ears what, he can't know everything. So he believed them. He finally came around and caught on. It was all bullshit. However, he wasn't around but for a very short time. The other administration was in while this was, majority of it was all going down. So you believe what you want to believe, okay? I'm tired of I told you, it takes a bigger person to eventually come around and say, wow, I was wrong. They had me for all these years. I believe this, and just be a little skeptical. That's all I'm saying. But if you really think that the world was saved because of what I'm going to, because of the things that I'm showing you that I don't believe the world was saved, that's your business. That's okay. Next week, we'll talk about something. Well, actually, not, because this is my month of I'm covering this because every week there's more and more stuff coming out. But you know what I'm saying. We do all kinds of shows. I laid off the guests for right now because there's too much life going on in life. So, with that being said, I showed you guys a clip that Bill Gates, was being brought into court. He's being subpoenaed, so to speak, into court in the Netherlands. See, the Netherlands, they're tired of it. They're already on to this whole thing. There's a lot of countries that never bought into this bullshit and didn't agree with a lot of it. Some of them went with it but didn't like it, and some of them just totally like, screw you guys. But the Netherlands are really pissed off of what Bill Gates has promoted and done. And he was supposed to be brought into court. You know, he's got every lawyer in the world you can think of, but he's actually, from what I understand, going to have to go to court. And that court date is in November. Now, again, do I think anything's going to happen to him? No, unfortunately. But I think it's great that if you could find a news outlet that will show you this stuff, because I guarantee you're not going to find it on CNN or ABC or CBS or NBC. You're not going to see any of this stuff. They're not going to talk about it, but it is happening, and I will find the footage and I will play it, because you need to know that this stuff is real and it's going on. Just because you didn't hear about it. Now, again, for the people who are on top of things, right on. Spread the word, okay? Because you never know who might be open to listening. For the sake of this shit never, ever, ever, ever happening again. And that's the problem. Now there's so many people that have caught on, they're having a hard time moving forward with their plans. New World Order, all this bullshit. We were this close, people. We were this close to toppling. So there's a court date, and I'm going to play what I know from this woman who's going to tell you more about it. So starting off our, what do I call it now? I don't even know. COVID criminals information. Here we go. All right. This is the one of several.
The court date with Bill Gates has been scheduled for November 27th. That is the day that Bill Gates is going to go and attempt to defend himself. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if justice is going to be served. I don't know if he will be held accountable. This is a very disturbed man that seems to put his hand only to things that destroy people. So, I don't know how he's gotten away with it all this time. I genuinely don't understand all of that. And I don't understand how the justice system works. I don't. But what we do know, regardless of what happens, because we don't know what will happen, but there are two things that are good that have come from COVID. One is that all of the stuff that Bill Gates is being accused of is all of this evidence that people have talked about, that conspiracy theorists talked about. It's all coming to the forefront. You can now see it for yourself. And it may not have ever come out, like, the vaccine being used as a bioweapon to depopulate the world. This was such a crazy idea, but now we have that in writing, and there's evidence of this. All of those people who were gaslit about their turbo cancer or just dying from a heart attack on a field, a perfectly healthy person, these types of things, they at least know the truth about it. And, so many other things that are now coming to light because of this trial. The second thing that COVID, I feel, did for the majority of people is, it took the blinders off for a lot of people. So many people trusted government. They just kind of did what they were told. They didn't question it. They didn't, they just kind of didn't do a whole lot. We were a passive people. And because of this, a lot of people are questioning everything, as I believe is healthy to do. If the government wants to give you something for free, question it. Because if they really were trying to save your life, they would give chemo for free, or other healthy remedies for free, or life-saving medication for free. So if it's free, question it. Just question it. I think a lot of people had misplaced faith in the wrong things. You cannot look to man to be good when God is the only one that is good. And when you fear God, you act differently in the earth. You make different decisions. And so, either way for Bill Gates, he's going to have to face God. And God sees the truth about everything.
That's right. She makes a valid point. They went to extremes, wanting to give you a free burger to go get jabbed. Even potheads, they were like, you get a joint if you get jabbed in the states where it's legal. I mean, just crazy ass stuff. So he's going to go to court and we'll find out and we'll see what happens. I'll keep you up on that. You're welcome. Hey, Lonnie, you still with me? I just remembered while this was going on. Your car show is actually this week. So now you can go to the car show this Friday. Inside joke. Had a friend of mine who went to a car show a month early. And I just realized I heard about it. And it's like, hey, it's this Friday. So you might want to go get ready. Anyway. Where else we at? Okay. I want to give you a little history lesson. I managed to come up with this. It's a little vaccine history lesson. And I think this is a really good one. It's good to know history. That's why they're trying to wipe out history. They don't want you knowing history, but this is a vaccine history lesson. And I think it will help give you a little more, set the narrative, how it all started, about where it's going. But check this out, and I think you will be glad you did. All right, here you go.
Now here is a crazy conspiracy theory for you. Guess who the first CEO of Moderna was? A Cornell graduate by the name of Anthony Fauci, aka the father of HIV, who in his turn was a roommate of Billy Boo Gates, who made a lot of money on what exactly again during the pandemic? If you're new here, welcome. Take a seat over there, because it's storytelling time. Grab pen and paper and be ready to rewind for a few times. Moderna was a pharmaceutical company that started in Germany under the name IG Farben. IG Farben is infamous for its mass production of Zyklon B, the primary gas used to eradicate a few from the Minecraft server during World War II. After Germany fell, IG Farben was dissolved and its assets sold off by a Nazi turned American by the name of, you guessed it, George Soros. Soros rebranded the company as Moderna. And just to top it off, take one wild guess who the primary stockholder of Moderna was until his death? Jeffrey Epstein. Crazy world we're living in. Got another Epstein story coming up later, but first, as we can read in the Epstein files, Billy Bill Gates and Epstein spoke about pandemic simulations back in 2015. Epstein's convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, her sister, Isabel Maxwell, owns the company that puts out Amber Alerts. Their father, Robert Maxwell, owned the company that made Your Kids textbooks and was the founder of Pergamon Press, a prominent British publishing house specialized in science and medicine. God, the coincidences. Dear Robert is the subject of several tributes and commemorative articles published in PubMed indexed journals, the oh-so-beloved source of peer-reviewed research. Now, who exactly did the peering and who exactly did the reviewing here? McGraw-Hill Inc., an American education science company that provides educational content, software, and services for students and educators across various levels, formed a 50-50 joint venture with our dearest Robert Maxwell back in 1989 already. And there's this Leon Black, co-founder of the parent company that owns LifeTouch, being listed in the Epstein files, personally paid Jeffrey Epstein approximately $158 million for advisory services between 2012 and 2017. Not a bad fee for some 5 years of advice. And who was LifeTouch? The biggest school photography company in America, shooting millions of student portraits every year. Now, why do all these figures share that oh-so-deep interest in science, medicine, and education? More on that later from my side, but in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget who loves you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Then I haven't even told them about how the Archilds paid Jeffrey Epstein $25 million a year to hijack everyone's health.
It's funny how all these names are all the same circle of villains. It's all the same people. It's every year, every time there's something, they're always in the back, lurking around. They're behind the scenes. Same people. Same ones. Same ones. Let's go back to Bill Gates. I don't know who, again, started off with Microsoft. We all know the story. If you don't, I've played it in the past. I'll probably play it again some other time down the line because there's always new people coming in that had no idea. He marketed himself to be this big savior. He's a philanthropist. He's given away all his money. Little did people know that the money he gives away to all these organizations are organizations that he created, nonprofits and all that. So he's giving away his own money to himself. So where he doesn't have to pay taxes and he gives it there and he spends it through them. It's a genius move. I mean, it's just your typical, if you make a lot of money, you find all these loopholes. But on top of that, he's doing all these wonderful things and he's really not. It's like, who here wants to eat his new FDA approved fake lab meat? Raise your hands if you want to eat that shit. That fake chicken and that fake beef. I don't think there's anybody in their right mind that says, no, I got no problem with that. I have yet to come across anybody who doesn't comment back. It's like, let him eat his own crap. They've got heavy money invested in that lab-grown meat, too. They want to get you off of cows and the real stuff, and they want to keep you on their own product so they can make money. And it's not even good for you. They've yet to prove that it's healthy. Nobody. I mean, even the dumbest of dumb or the most ignorant know enough to not go near that shit. The problem is there's going to be a lot of restaurants, if they're not already doing it, fast food places and things like that. God, the stories I've heard about McDonald's already. I don't know. I just don't even go there no more. And, when I was growing up as a child, that was like a treat. That was like the fun stuff, and it's just changed. Fast food is gone. It's just gotten so ghetto. But who knows what they're putting in all these food chains and stuff when they're frying stuff. You might be eating it and you don't even know. I mean, eventually you may catch on. The texture is a little weird, it's kind of stringy. I don't know. But all I'm telling you is keep your eyes open. Eat wisely, people. So Bill Gates, he's got his hands in everything. He's got so much money. He's got his hands on the problem and the cure of everything. He's really becoming a nuisance. He's this self-appointed genius about your health, about the food you should eat, about everything having to do with life. With Microsoft, viruses, you need to buy virus protection. Who owned the virus protection? Create the virus. He goes, you need this. Then there's a new one. It's kind of the same with the computers that he's trying to do with people. So screw him. And people are finally starting to catch on that this man is not this guy that he portrays himself in front of the mainstream media. He's really kind of sick. He doesn't eat all the shit that he's telling you need to eat, and that's a fact. But here's a little more info on, he just thinks he's the boss of the world or something, but you just
mRNA is really easy and really cheap, and that's the magic of this thing. But there's no doubt in the next 5 years we can, we just need to mess around. There's a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembling. There's no inherent reason it's not thermostable, it's not cheap, and it's not scalable. And so as over the 5 years we fix that part of it, mature it, which is very typical, we'll be able to build factories worldwide that can make $2 vaccines with even less lead time than we've had to have here during this pandemic.
When the COVID vaccines were first being distributed to the public, the vaccine inserts were intentionally left blank because they were never safe and effective. And for those who did their own research, they were discovered to be deadly. The Moderna patent for this mRNA technology stated that they contain self-assembling lipid nanoparticle technology. And now that an estimated 600 million doses have been administered to the U.S. public, Bill Gates admits this. Bill says these mRNA shots can easily be programmed to administer any type of spike protein pathogen. And the Moderna patent lists several, over 100 pathogens that can be control released over time, so that deaths will appear to be random and mysterious. Those injected are understandably having a hard time accepting this reality. And while they are busy trying to figure out where all the heart attacks, turbo cancer, and neurological disease is coming from, they are being told that it's due to climate change and that regular pandemics are to now be expected.
Yeah. Expect it, right? They just, because they know. They're going to try and drop another one whenever they can. Calex. Oh, Calex. No, I'm continuing on, Calex. This is the month of information for those who don't understand. I mean, there's so much information out there. But thanks. If you're bored, what can I tell you? I'm bringing you different information, but on the same topic. I'm sorry if but not everybody's up as on top of the ball, but no, it is not a rerun. Although once in a while we do run a rerun, but not today. Today it's live. So it's just he comes up. He's like, we can do whatever we want. And if you don't notice that a lot of people that shouldn't be gone, I just refreshed. Thank you. Good. I want to keep you at that nice cruising level. You know what I mean? That's Calex. He just said he just refreshed. Wink, wink. That's what does that mean when he refreshes? It's like, he's just refreshing. Anyway, this guy's playing God and just convincing everybody. So that way, instead of putting a bullet to somebody's head and eradicating, like they did back in the, 40s and 20s and mid 1900s, this way they can do it and it just looks natural. It just looks natural. Things happen at different times. If you have underlying issues and you're still around, you're very lucky and you got the jab, because it attacks underlying issues. You may have gotten the placebo. That's another thing. They did all these different things and they know what they did and didn't do. So if you're listening to this and you're around and you did take that and boosters because they scared the shit out of you to take them, you thank your God that you're here, because every day it's the sudden death stuff I'm seeing all the time. I just saw it today on LinkedIn, this radio guy that I don't know him, but he's on my LinkedIn feed, and we've talked. And all of a sudden, I just saw a post from his daughter, this younger guy. I mean, he's probably 40s or early 50s, maybe. And he suddenly passed away. And I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but there's a lot of that going on. And if you're telling me you haven't noticed since 2019, young kids dropping on the fields and all this kind of stuff, well, then you're just blind as shit and you don't want to admit it. There's a thing. Anyway. So meanwhile, Bill Gates, he's got the answer for everything. He just has the answer for anything. Alex, you're killing me, bro. Hey, do you know anything about making a magazine? I need 24 pages. Not really. I've been in several. Been in a half a dozen of them. And I've read magazines in the past, but I don't know anything else about them besides they're like books, but they're more pliable and and they're usually kind of shiny and very colored. They're not black and white; they're color, and they got pages and stuff in it, and that's what I know about it. But what else you want here? I want a 24 professionally made 2000 style magazine, Game Informer, Thrasher. Well, you know what? Listen, with AI and everything going on right now, it's easy to figure it out. Just ask AI, but don't trust everything AI tells you. Keep asking it the hard questions. Even when it gives you all the stuff you want to hear, Ask it about the things you may not want to hear, the downsides, the upsides. Believe me, it's been a lot of help for many people, including myself, to figure things out sometimes in life in general. Anyway, all right, moving on. Let's talk about Dr. Anthony Fauci, as I did last week. If you happen to tune in like Calex did, that's why he thought he was watching the same show. I'd like to think it's a little bit different. Like it feels different every show a little bit. Okay, the background's the same, but that's a given. But that's up to you. But Dr. Anthony Fauci was promoted to be the most distinguished and notable, the go-to guy for information, life-saving information, and how to handle the pandemic. We trusted him. They led you to believe he was the guy. There was God, and then there was him. And that fucker lied to us at his age. And he's been at it for a long time doing very bad things. I'm going to show you that too tonight if you stick around, because I got a really good lesson in a few minutes. It's a long one, but it's a huge history of Dr. Anthony Fauci and all the shit he's done through the years that you never hear about in Africa and all these kind of things, test studies and who he's done them on and all that. But you pay attention. I'm telling you, it's an eye-opener. So stick with me because it just gets better and better and better. And at the end of the show, you might say, all right, I'll take it. I'll keep it in the back of my head. But so Fauci lied about a lot of things, and there's been this controversy now about pregnant women. They were telling pregnant women they can take this stuff, and there's been a lot of miscarriages. I know a good handful of women, that young women too, had some problems. Now, whether they would have had problems or not, don't know, but they're talking about it here. So check this out.
Fauci lied and people died. New information tonight shows that Fauci lied and thousands of babies died. What did Anthony Fauci know about COVID vaccines and pregnancy, and when did he know it? Because newly released documents by Senators Rand Paul and Ron Johnson allege that raw data showed an 82% miscarriage rate among women who received an mRNA COVID vaccine during their first trimester. That figure, they say, was consistent with an 81% miscarriage rate found in Pfizer's own post-market data published in November of 2021. But it's important to note here, that published data is the first time it was available to the public. The data cutoff date is actually February of 2021. Writes to former CDC Director Rochelle Walensky, quote, "Another issue came up that you need to be aware of. A second dose could theoretically be associated with miscarriages in the first trimester." And then, from then, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, quote, "I've been hearing the concern about mRNA causing mutations in the developing fetus as well," end quote. Here's where it gets serious. Those messages were sent in January of 2021. And yet months later, in August of that same year, Fauci was not only silent on those findings, but still encouraging, if not demanding, that pregnant women get vaccinated.
The CDC and the ACOG, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, who used to say it is okay for pregnant women to get vaccinated, to change now and say it is recommended for pregnant women.
There is no bad time to get vaccinated. Get vaccinated while you're thinking about having a baby, before you're thinking about having a baby, while you're pregnant with your baby, or after you've delivered your baby.
So where did the science change here? Why was Fauci aware in January of 2021 that the COVID vaccine had an 8 in 10 chance of causing a miscarriage, and yet continued for months and years to insist that it was safe, and told pregnant women over and over and over to get vaccinated? Look, if public health officials knew there were such high risks to pregnancy and failed to disclose them, then this isn't just a matter of bad communication. This is a matter of killing children.
They knew that there could possibly be complications with pregnant women and miscarriages tied to the COVID vaccine, yet the Biden administration health officials, they didn't change their rhetoric. Your reaction?
Well, the Biden administration was a disaster in every way. That would be just one way, but...
Biden administration was a disaster, but this little guy behind me, this little troll, Anthony Fauci, he was a bigger disaster. And that's why Senator Rand Paul says his investigation is only beginning, because these aren't just amorphous allegations. These are concrete questions about what Fauci was told, what the data showed, and what he said publicly, and what he chose day after day after day to not disclose. because someone needs to explain how this man has not been charged tonight with mass murder. But wait, Fauci was later given a presidential pardon. Oh, that's right, by President Biden's auto pin. That's why he's walking around, right? But remember, the pardon that Fauci got was a generic sweeping pardon, and it's for federal crimes. State attorneys general across the country could bring state charges against him any day. So why is everybody just sitting on their hands? And when Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment 111 times last week in front of the Senate, he was protecting himself from potential legal exposure because his pardon would cover previous acts, but not new lies that he would be forced to tell to Congress. Look, this has to be tested, this ridiculous pardon. If Anthony Fauci and other health officials knew about the likelihood of miscarriages and not only failed to disclose them, but promoted them to pregnant women, they are monsters and they must face justice.
Yep. 8 in 10. He knew that 8 in 10 pregnancies would fail. Miscarry. I'm not saying 1 in 10, which isn't even good. 8 in 10. And he kept his mouth shut because they knew that was all part of the whole thing. It's part of depopulation. They're tearing up all these women's, organs, reproductive organs, to not have the ability to give birth. That's how they're going to. There's so many ways that they've devised to reduce the population from dying with all different diseases that take effect or get spun up a lot quicker to not being able to reproduce. That's what these guys are doing. And we're just like, oh, come on, that's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. Dr. Fauci is the best doctor here in Haiti. Yeah, go Cowboys. You and them Cowboys. Mr. Trump stands with Fauci and Gates. Go Cowboys. It's debatable. I know that, you see him standing near them, but I don't think he's near Fauci anymore. And Gates, something's up. I want to say the old adage, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, because he's got to know, unless his back is up against the wall too, because, we're dealing with some very dark entities. There's a power in the deep state that is not easy to conquer. Otherwise, we would have fixed this stuff already. But I can only hope through people being aware, getting more and more aware, because when the natives are restless, they can't take on the whole population. There's only like 4,000 or 5,000 of these assholes. I've said it 1,000 times. And when they see that the natives are rising up, they can't do it. But if they get you to believe in them and scare the shit out of you, and so that way you need them, they convince you that they're going to help you, then God help us all. Because it's not going to go well. But either way, so you got Fauci knowing all this stuff because he's like the puppet head promoting all this, the doctor, and then you got Gates in the background again, doing all his stuff. There we go. I want to play this, but it's same thing, except now here's the Gates side of the whole deal, and he blatantly says it. He put his foot in his mouth, and now it's haunting him for those who are willing to listen.
Why are they trying to get a shot of mRNA into every human being on this planet, do you think?
Well, the most obvious answer here, and it's at least one of the main components, is depopulation, reducing the human population number. Because Bill Gates told us these plans 16 years ago in a TED Talk. He said we can use vaccines to reduce the global population by 10 to 15%.
First, we've got population. Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
And so now those plans have been rolled out because not only do these shots, not only are they lethal and have killed millions, but they are sterilizing. They destroy the reproductive system. They destroy over 60% of women's primordial follicles in the animal tests. They reduce pregnancy success by 33%, according to a human study with 1.3 million people in it. So they're killing people off and they're sterilizing them. And so the only conclusion we can make from that is that they want to reduce the number of people. And some people cannot accept that, but what else is explaining this? Is it money? Partially, but it's not only just making profits here. There's a more diabolical agenda by these elitist groups.
Small handful of people are trying to make decisions for the whole world on who lives and who doesn't. We're just like little ants to them. They'll keep who they need, the worker bees. The rest are just useless eaters. They're assholes. And it's this kind of information that will keep you on your toes to not let this happen and become a slave to the grind if you get to live. If you get to live. And again, it's part of Bill Gates is one of the handful. He happens to be more of the visual people in the forefront. There's a bunch of them that are just as strong in the background. But Gates is the one of the main puppet heads with a lot of money. And he talks about this stuff, casually, like it's no big deal. But he's got dark plans for humanity, and it doesn't matter to him. He's just a messed up individual. But here, let him tell you himself.
Isn't it interesting how everything Bill Gates gets his hands on affects the American people the most?
We've got population. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
If you lowered the population by 10 or 15% when you're talking about 8 billion people, do the math on that one.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Another pandemic will come. We focused on preparation. 6% of global emissions are cows who burp and fart methane to an extreme degree. You can either fix the cows to stop them doing that, or you can make beef without the cow.
And Microsoft founder Bill Gates control the weather. Well, according to a patent application recently released to the public, Gates and several other co-inventors seem to think that they can, at least when it comes to hurricanes.
And it just seems as though all we seem to do these days is talk about all these anomalies of the weather everywhere, right?
Water shortages could be the biggest mass mortality event the world has ever seen. I am talking billions of people dying. The only way we ensure people remain safe is by being invested in the United States Water Reserve.
They always say it out loud, but they don't elaborate. Be invested in America's water supply. What does that mean exactly, Bill Gates?
People are like, wow, this is a bit scary. It's completely new territory.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things.
My question is how did Bill Gates get this much power? Which one of the 13 families is he? Well, how they're all doing things that we can't even imagine in our brains that they do. Remember, Bill Gates' wife left him because he gave her a disease when he was hanging out with Epstein and lied about it, and she caught him. Ew.
Who cares about that part? What I care about is he's an evil piece of shit. The water system. Did you not hear a couple of weeks ago that a few water systems in the country, in Minnesota or whatever, the water systems got hacked? Like they weren't in control of the water system. They lost, there's valves and all kinds of pressure and things that happen and that need to be controlled through water systems. And this guy's talking about how the hell are we going to run out of water? In the history of the world, nobody's run out of water, and now there's a possibility of running out of water. I truly believe, and they tried to blame it on the Iranians, like the Iranians hacked into these water systems. I just have a gut feeling like they're just testing, You know, it's easy to put the blame on somebody else or whatever, but these entities in the background are testing out, what they can and cannot get away with one little bit at a time, almost like a little dry run. But can you believe this guy? He's out loud just saying, we need to be vested in our water systems. It's like, since when? Everything's been pretty good up until he came around, Bill. And I get so many comments. It's like, why doesn't somebody put him out of his misery? I don't know. I don't know. That won't stop completely, but I don't think there'll be I don't think anybody's going to lose any sleep over it, but just evil on what he just doesn't care what happens to the population. But yet he makes believe like he does. Like we need to prepare for this because I'm getting ready to do something, and then I'm going to show you how I can fix it. Same old shit, different plan. It's pretty bad. But again, for those of you who are still brainwashed with the whole COVID thing and scared to death of it, and truly believe in it, and truly, if there's another vaccine or another booster that comes up, you'll be one of the first in line. God bless you. But here, this is Jimmy Dore, who's he got injured from the whole thing and the jab, and he talks about it, and he doesn't stop talking about it because he knows, and he brings the receipts. So here you go. Here's a little, maybe it'll slap you around and help you come to your senses. Hopefully.
Fauci lied, and people.
And then I play the wrong
President
one.
Trump wrote on Twitter, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life." Don't let it dominate your life?
In terms of responding to a comment like that, it's gross.
It's okay to be afraid of COVID, and it's okay that it's dominating your life.
It wasn't okay. It was an invented pandemic by Fauci, who created the virus in the first place. We know that for a fact. And isn't it amazing how people still are angry at people who wouldn't take the vaccine or wouldn't wear a mask, don't have 1 ounce of anger at the guy who created the virus they claim killed millions of people? He's a bigger murderer than Hitler. So that shows you their brainwashing. It's called load-bearing belief. So if you take away the belief that Fauci's a good guy and you replace it with that he's a corrupt psychopathic killer, which is what he is, and that you went along with it, then you have to accept the idea that you were the moron and the Trumpers who were skeptical of Fauci and the vaccine and COVID narrative, who didn't wear masks, who wanted to go around with their life, that they were right and you were the moron. And so that's why those people can't let themselves believe the truth, because those are load-bearing beliefs. And if you take away those beliefs, their entire idea of who they are collapses in on them. Am I the baddie? Yes. Am I the Yes. You're the moron. You're dumber than a Trumper by far.
And there you go. He doesn't seem like he's too fond of Trump either. But yet he's telling you, don't be a dumbass. This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show. Don't be a dumbass. Oh boy, that's Calix, you're killing me. I will play his. I only get Peter G once a week. I gotta soak all this up. Do you got bonus content? I can't. I just bug you on Instagram. Check up on you, bro. Peter G. Wild on the streets of LA. Yeah, no, dude. There's the short clips that come out during the week. The highlights for those who don't watch the full show. I love when people watch the full show. It's just like just like you. It's like a community. We're just hanging out. You know how I am now. I definitely know how the hell you are, and you don't even, you'll flat out tell me how you are. I'm super baked, by the way. Well, there you go. Jesus. My problem is like, when you finally come back around, are you going to remember all this stuff? This is important stuff. But I appreciate you. I do. And all the many who tune in just like you. Take the time. But yeah, the highlights, they're all over the place. A lot of work, too, doing the highlights all week long. But it's worth it because it's important. And it's important to me because I care about people and your families and your children. It's really important. I hate hearing bad things, bad stories about people taking ill, passing away before their time. It's one thing, it sucks enough. Tomorrow morning, I have to go to a funeral. But a buddy of mine's father is 97 years old. I mean, God bless it. I mean, I can only hope I can get up to that point. But, so it sucks even in good ways. But to people go before their time, it bugs the shit out of me. And I question everything now. So, that's just not here nor there. All right, look, this is a good one right here. Okay. I want you to pay attention to this because this is a learning. I want you to learn about the real Dr. Anthony Fauci. This is going to be a clip that gives you his background history from decades ago and where he came from, what he's done, and how he's become who he's become. And that's MCF Senior. You like to get baked too, huh? You like to bake bagels. Man, I hope if you're good at it, send me some. I love bagels. And when I'm in New York, I love the sesame seed bagels. But I like them, a little bit crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. Some cream cheese. Not much on the lox, though, but shalom. There you go. This is a story. This is a history, a learning thing about Dr. Anthony Fauci, where he came from, his past, and where we are now with him. And I think this is really something good to pay attention to. It's a little bit long, but again, because it tells the whole story behind this man, and you might have a different outlook. Most people only know him from COVID, from him just coming into the scene, becoming the highest paid government employee in the nation, and that was that. They don't know about all the shit he's done in the past. He's like a Dr. Mengele, if you ask me, him and Gates. But here you go. So check this out, and I think it'll change your tune a little bit, or at least you'll know more than you did before you saw it.
New book, The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. Robert Kennedy Jr. crafts a harrowing narrative of the man behind public health policy for the last 40 years, coming into the spotlight once again during the COVID situation. The book details many of Anthony Fauci's crimes going all the way back to the early 1980s. From withholding legitimate and inexpensive AIDS treatments in exchange for more profitable and lethal alternatives, to horrendous experimentation on African civilians, it is difficult for good-natured souls to comprehend the depths of the depravity that this so-called hero possesses. One of the more shocking revelations comes in Chapter 7, entitled Dr. Fauci, Mr. Hyde, NIAID's Barbaric and Illegal Experiments on Children. None of this information is new. In fact, it was detailed in several mainstream publications, including the Associated Press, and in a 2004 BBC documentary entitled Guinea Pig Kids, which was based on the fearless research of human rights activists Vera Sharav, along with journalists Liam Sheff and Celia Farber. New York's child welfare agency, known as the Administration for Children's Services, or ACS, is notorious for its far-reaching legal authority to kidnap children from their parents with very little cause.
They're essentially out of control. I've had many ACS caseworkers tell me, we're ACS, we can do whatever we want, and they usually get away with it.
In 1992, Fauci's team, with the help of ACS, descended on Incarnation Children's Center in New York City, which housed orphans who were HIV positive. Fauci saw this as a goldmine of test subjects who were conscripted as lab rats for a new generation of experimental AIDS drugs. The most vulnerable children in society were the ones that Fauci's team targeted. Vera Sharav, Holocaust survivor, human rights activist, and the founder of the Alliance for Human Research Protection, explains.
You would not expect too many parents to volunteer their loved children for such experiments. This means that if the researchers want to do the experiment on children, they're going to look for vulnerable children whom they can get. And when you have city government agency accommodating them, that is the biggest betrayal of those children. They don't have anyone but the city agency that is their guardian on paper, but not in human ways.
In 1983, the government mandated that independent advocates be given to children who were to be used in experiments that were thought to have more than minimal risk. This was widely neglected during Fauci's AIDS studies on orphans. According to the AHRP, only about 30% of the children experimented on in New York were given advocates. In many cases, it is unclear whether or not these children actually were HIV positive. At the time, HIV testing created a high number of false positives. The tests used in the 1990s were the ELISA screening test, the Western blot confirmatory test, and the PCR viral load test. And we all know how inaccurate PCR testing is. According to independent organizations, including the Vera Institute of Justice and the AHRP, it is said that 64% of these children were black and 30% Latino, which lends itself to the racial and eugenics-based nature of these experiments, which seems to be a trend with Tony Fauci that we will explore further in upcoming chapters. When children become wards of the state, they are required to be given proper medical interventions to treat any ailments that they may have. The justification for the experimentation on mostly minority, HIV-positive orphans was that it would allow these children access to the most cutting-edge treatments that they normally would not have access to. Dr. Mark Klein, a pediatric AIDS expert at Baylor College of Medicine, stated, quote, "I understand the ethical dilemma surrounding the introduction of foster children into trials. To say as a group that foster children should be excluded from clinical trials would have meant excluding these children from the best available therapies at the time. The drugs that were administered included nevirapine and the highly toxic AZT, a repurposed cancer drug that had been previously discarded due to its severe and sometimes fatal toxicities. Experimental AIDS vaccines were also being tested on the children as well. During these experiments, many children became violently ill and ultimately refused the medication. Children who were receiving treatment on an outpatient basis would be removed from their parents if the parents decided to discontinue use of these experimental drugs. In the case of Jacqueline Horger, the callousness of the ACS was on full display. After seeing a decline in the health of her adopted HIV-positive children, who had been on the experimental drug protocol, Horger stopped giving her children the drugs. Immediately, the children's health improved. Shortly thereafter, ACS showed up and removed the children due to Horger's lack of compliance with the experimental treatment protocol. She was then convicted of child abuse and forbidden from ever having contact with the children again.
Where are they now?
I don't know. I'm not allowed to know.
There are many first-hand accounts of children who decided that they wanted nothing to do with the experiment. Children who resisted were force-fed the drugs. Those children who continued to resist were taken to nearby Columbia Presbyterian Hospital and had a tube, known as a PEG tube, surgically inserted into their stomach in order to administer the medication against the child's will. Journalist Liam Sheff stated, "In 2003, 2 children, ages 6 and 12, had debilitating strokes due to drug toxicities. The 6-year-old went blind. They both died shortly after. Another 14-year-old died recently. An 8-year-old boy had 2 plastic surgeries to remove large, fatty, drug-induced lumps from his neck. This isn't science fiction. This is AIDS research." Between 1985 and 2005, 532 infants and children were experimented on while in foster care in New York City under the auspice of the NIAID and pharmaceutical corporations such as Merck, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Progenics, Genentech, Glaxo Wellcome, which became GlaxoSmithKline in December 2000, and Pfizer. In January 2008, the NIH released an article in the Journal of Pediatrics that stated that the regulations that were in place pertaining to advocates did not go far enough to protect wards of the state, and went so far as to propose some modifications. However, not much else has come in terms of policy reform, and no one has been held accountable for the actions that took place at ICC. In 2009, the Vera Institute issued the results of its investigation of 2 decades worth of child experimentation by NIAID. It was determined that 80 children died while enrolled in clinical trials while in foster care, and that 25 children died while in medication trials. Many other policy violations were noted as well, including 21 children who participated after a recommendation was made to exclude them from the trials. It may be impossible to break through the cover-up to know how many children were truly affected by these drug trials. Liam Sheff claimed he was able to get authorities to admit to 200 deaths of children in foster care. However, he was unable to get them to admit that any were due to drug toxicity during experimentation. Journalist Celia Farber, one of the contributors of the film Guinea Pig Kids, recounted her experience investigating the deaths of children from Incarnation Children's Center. Quote, "I found the mass graves at Gate of Heaven Cemetery in Hawthorne, New York. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a very large pit with astroturf thrown over it, which you could actually lift up. Under it one could see dozens of plain wooden coffins, haphazardly stacked. There may have been 100 of them. I learned there were more than one child's body in each."
Well, it is shocking that in New York City, experimental drug treatments are being used on children who are in foster care. We do know that several have passed away during the course of these experiments, and we know that there are still some involved. And there's been somewhat of a secrecy about the whole matter, I must say. It has not been easy to get through the bureaucracy as to exactly what this is all about.
According to LifeSite News, up to 14,000 children were used in these experiments nationwide. The testing at ICC, the most publicly known of these types of experiments on children, is simply a glimpse into the overall scope of these experiments. It is said that some 4 dozen experiments in at least 7 states were all taking place at the same time, with funding from Fauci's NIAID and its big pharmaceutical cohorts. The recent public outcry involving inhumane animal experimentation and these revelations about the diabolical treatment of orphans has shed new light on the crimes of Anthony Fauci. The more awareness around these issues the public has, the more likely justice will be done. Stay tuned until next time when we will explore Anthony Fauci's crimes.
Yeah. Just throwaways. They don't matter. You should see the stuff he did in Africa on all those people. They don't matter. They're just disposable. They just keep on procreating, and there's famine there anyway, so might as well use those guys. Pretty horrendous. And that's Dr. Anthony Fauci. That's his pretty much his history of where he was and where he is now. I'm going to play this clip real quick. I played this last week, but I don't want you to forget this, because this is the guy who claimed he knew everything. He was the science. I'm this and that. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I've been brought to hearings before. I'm an open book, and I'm used to it. No big deal. Him and his buddy Bill. There you go.
Did you partner with Bill Gates on global health initiatives or vaccines?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
How much did Bill Gates entities provide in funding to NIAID collectively since 2005?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
To your knowledge, did Bill Gates partner with China on sensitive research?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Specifically dual-use research such as countermeasures or gain of function?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Do you know if Bill Gates' entities partnered with U.S. government classified programs?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Do you know if Bill Gates maintains an active national security clearance?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Did you advocate or request for Bill Gates to receive a security clearance?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Just a little memory refresher of 2 weeks ago when he was at that hearing that, most news outlets refused to air. or talk about. And I'm catching all kinds of flack. I mean, these people, take your blinders off, for God's sake. You know, again, if you're so friggin' innocent, you shouldn't have any problem talking. And he's got the pardon where he can say the truth, even if it was bad. But he can't say that because he's got people that have, behind him behind the curtain. He'll be ex-nayed before you know it. Tragic car accident. Died of COVID. He's a piece of crap. Okay. And I'm going to let my friend Tim Kramer wrap up this whole thing to bring you guys, to bring it all around of why I am sitting here doing this. And I'm hoping you'll come to the realization that it's for all our own good, that you're aware, and you'll share. You share this stuff because there's so many people that got their friggin' blinders on and they're in the dark, and the sheep are going to go off the cliff. You may take some of us with you, be out of your stupidity. But if we band together and say, enough, we stand a way better chance. But here's Tim Kramer. I love this guy. I got to get him back on the show.
Vindicated. That's what Tony Fauci did for me. He vindicated me. Everything that I said during 2021, 2022, 2023, everything that I said about COVID, everything I said about the vaccine, everything I said about the virus, Tony Fauci vindicated me. I was right. You were wrong. Suck it. Now, this is what they do. When they need you to shut the fuck up, they censor you. Why? Because the truth hurts them. They can't allow the truth out. Not when they're telling you a lie. Not when they're trying to convince you of something that's not true. No, they cannot allow the truth out. So they censor you. And when they can't let the truth out because it'll hurt them, when the tables have turned, they censor themselves. Tony Fauci did it. Didn't say a word. Kept saying, I have the right not to say anything at all because it might make me look guilty. That's why he didn't say anything. Katie Hobbs is doing the same exact thing here. That's what liars do. Liars censor themselves when they're no longer in a position to censor you. For the last several years, they've been censoring us, but now the tables have turned and they've got to talk. They got to say what they did. They got to explain themselves, and they can't. Why? Because if they tell the truth today, it'll reveal that everything they said previously was a motherfucking lie.
And that's the truth, my friends. I get censored. I've been censored. I'm expecting to get censored again. Because they don't want you hearing the truth, and they label it under a different category. But these people who've been holding all this crap back now are getting held accountable, and they're going to have to say that it was all bullshit, and they can't. They won't. Tape don't lie. You can pull up the stuff they said 3 years ago. It's on video or digital, whatever you want to do, and it tells you what they said then, and all of a sudden they start changing their tune because they're trying to save their own skin. I'm sick of it. They're all pieces of shit, and they need to go. And it's us. We, the people, believe it or not, we can make a difference. But we all have to be on the same page and be aware. We can't be fighting each other. So stop the nonsense. Speaking of good stuff, again, thank you. I want you guys to share. We're doing great, especially on Facebook. Keep hitting the like button. Follow the Peter G Show, please. I can use all the help I can get. I need that for the bean counters. Personally, I can give a damn. As long as you're watching, I don't care. But it's a numbers game, folks. And everybody and their uncle's got a podcast, so to speak. They get, even these actors, they got no more work. There's no more movies and this and that. It's like, hey, I'll do a podcast. And they bring some great guests because they know great, more high-level guests. But they're not going to stay around. Something will pick up and then they'll abandon it like a house fire. But I'm here every week like clockwork. Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the on the West Coast. And you guys, I love you all for paying attention. I do. I can't say that enough because I know it's hard, to make time out of your life, but I try to make it worth your while. And I love a lot of the comments. Some of them not so much, because there's a lot of haters that come on the show too. But here's the thing. Hate me or love me. Especially if you hate me, or not hate me, dislike me, you're not used to me, whatever, you keep coming back. However, even if you can't stand what I'm talking about, for whatever reason, you're here for a reason. The universe has brought you here, listening, watching, learning, whether you know it or not, disagree or agree, but you're here for a reason. And I know that. That much I'm sure of. So thanks. All right. Next week, more of what you asked for. I don't know exactly, but I have a pretty good idea. Just tune in. It's harmless. Again, share all the shorts. Share, follow, like that. Turn your friends onto it, please. Let's do this. We're all in this together. Let's make it work, all right? I'm Peter G. I want to thank everybody for watching Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show. Next week, don't forget, you can go check out all the shows on demand. For those of you who've missed the show, watch it again. It's on there. Facebook keeps it for a month, the long form show. But YouTube, if they don't take it down, it'll be up there. And then it's on Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, a couple of more, LinkedIn, and all the shorts go everywhere. But Facebook quit keeping the big shows on file because I guess it takes up too much space. So they only last for 30 days. But share, all right? And if you need to find a show, email me, info@PeterG Show. I'll point you in the right direction, or somebody will. That's what we're here for, all right? I love you guys. I truly do. I can't say that enough. Let's have a great week. Have a safe week. And just don't take any shit from people. Be nice. Be kind. You don't have to take crap from people, but don't be an ass either. Please, don't be an ass. Life is just too damn short. Take a breath before you speak. I mean that. It's just, you'll thank yourself in the long run before snapping and regretting what comes out of your mouth. Okay? Because there's plenty of people I really need to tell to just shut the fuck up. They do. Lots of people just spew off at the mouth, and they need to shut the fuck up. But they will in their own time. They'll get it if enough people just tell them. All right? That's it. So go have yourself a good time. Be safe. Be vigilant. Keep your eyes open. Don't get too comfortable, but enjoy life, all right? Because it really is short. That's it. I'm Peter G. I love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad.